Tonight, a man is murdered in Choiseul. His girlfriend of over 15 years speaks to Hot 7 after discovering his dead body. Hundreds of COVID-19 test results are in following a call center scare, and a Methodist church is burglarized, prompting Reverend Ampadu to appeal for a stop to the current upsurge in crime. The details of these stories and more are coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Loveless and Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Monday, the 27th of July, 2020. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News on Floor Channel 117, KISS FM, the Caribbean Hot FM mobile app, and our Caribbean Hot 7 TV Facebook page. I'm lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. A man known for making some of the tastiest dals and other eats in the small community of Choiseul was found dead in his balcony on Sunday morning by his girlfriend, Lordiana Agdoma. Agdoma said she had been trying to reach her partner, Morrison Joseph, to talk about the game of cricket that she was sure he would be enjoying. When she went to find him at his house at Lafargue Choiseul on Sunday, she was devastated by the sight of his lifeless body.
Sunday morning, I kept on calling him, calling his phone. I know he's a cricket fan and West Indies was playing, so I said to myself, how come he's not by the TV watching cricket? I called, I not hearing him. So then I decided to go there. When I reached close to the house, I saw him in the balcony lying in a pool of blood. So I just started trembling and I shout, more, grass, and then I run back to a neighbor up the road. So I told her what I saw, and then the Invest St. Lucia vehicle were passing. They took me to the police station.
Agdoma, who was in a relationship with Joseph for 15 years, says she cannot come to terms with his violent death. She says on her part, the entire matter is shrouded in mystery. But she says one thing is for sure. Joseph was loved and will be missed.
We were not living together. Like, he had his home at Lafargue and I am living at Fayette. But I was going there like every day to spend about 4 hours and go back to my home. Morrison Joseph, he was a good person. He was loved by many. He has a lot of friends, especially the school children. He was making the dal and the juice and the burgers for.
It is not clear when Joseph was shot. Some residents of Lafargue Choiseul reported hearing multiple gunshots on Saturday night. The incident has sent shockwaves throughout the quaint fishing village of Choiseul, known for its close-knit communities and traditional values. It is not a place known for the occurrence of fatal shootings, and demonstrates that no community is immune to crime. The island is currently in the throes of an upsurge in gun violence that has spread to communities outside the city center. In other news, when contact tracing began in relation to a female who tested positive for COVID-19 in St. Vincent after traveling from St. Lucia, a degree of panic spread throughout the island. Hundreds were tested and over 100 contacts of the young woman were placed in government quarantine. They breathed a sigh of relief by Sunday when results of their tests came in, all of them negative. The Ministry of Health in St. Lucia was informed by Vincentian health authorities that a St. Lucia national who traveled to St. Vincent and the Grenadines on Sunday, the 19th of July, tested positive for COVID-19. As such, the Ministry of Health here in St. Lucia underwent intense contact tracing, screening, and testing of all possible contacts in relation to this case. Over the weekend, the results were rolling in with news that comes as a relief to an entire country that was on edge.
On Friday, July 24th, 2020, a total of 197 test results were received, and on Sunday, July 26, 2020, a total of 133 samples were also processed. The total of 330 results were all negative. These include the contacts of the case and other samples as per usual. Based on our review on the weekend, there are only 4 outstanding contacts to be tested today.
St. Lucia has recorded a total of 24 COVID-19 cases to date. 22 of these cases have fully recovered and 2 patients remain in care at the respiratory hospital and remain stable. A total of 2,927 tests have been conducted to date. As the phased reopening of the country continues, the risk for introduction of COVID-19 has increased. Dr. Belmar George says the team expects and anticipates to be managing new cases.
The public is advised that all of the protocols are still in place, including the reduced numbers for public transportation and protocols for private and public sector establishments. These also include the use of face masks in public and the maintenance of safe physical distancing from others. We continue to advise on the importance of maintaining the standard recommendations for infection prevention and control, which include regular hand washing with soap and water or alcohol-based hand sanitizer where soap and water may not be available, and also safe cough etiquette of covering your mouth with tissues when coughing and sneezing.
The use of a face mask by members of the public also remains a requirement. Following the abrupt closure of the customer service department at its Lance Road office, Wasco is clearing the air on the speculation regarding possible COVID-19 exposure at the office. Communications Officer Sherry Ann Gillard Williams says no staff members have tested positive for COVID-19, and more than anything, the closure on Friday was done out of an abundance of caution. Shaka Wooding reports.
Following rumors that a staff member of Water and Sewage Company Wasco was in contact with an individual who tested positive for COVID-19, speculation continued to grow after the immediate closure of the customer service desk at Wasco's Lance Road office. Communications and Marketing Officer of Wasco, Sherry Ann Williams, shed some light on the matter, claiming that the closure of this department was done out of caution. Williams says this closure allowed the management of Wasco to interface with local health officials on the contact tracing relating to a St. Lucia national who tested positive for COVID-19 in St. Vincent.
The closure allowed us to, facilitate talks with the Ministry of Health. Of course, they are the lead in terms of doing the contact tracing and dealing with COVID cases or scares for that matter. And what we found out is that based on the contact tracing that was done through the Ministry of Health officials, our staff present or had very low risk in terms of contracting COVID-19.
She says following investigations by health authorities, the possibility of cross-contamination at the customer service department was dubbed unlikely. This Williams attributes to strict protocols.
We have a protocol in place that is in keeping with the national protocol as it relates to limiting limiting contact and limiting or reducing the spread of COVID-19. If you notice at the height of the whole COVID scare, we completely changed the layout of our offices. So it now reduced contact with employees and customers. So that was one way that we tried to limit contact. There's also very frequent cleanings done downstairs with the counters, with the surfaces and so on.
The customer service department at Wasco's Lance Road office has since reopened with a full continuation of services effective Monday, July 27th. Jacques Wooding, Hot 7 News.
Reverend Seth Ampadu is calling for peace following a streak of violent weekends that kept law enforcement with their hands full. Ampadu says if crime levels were not already alarming enough, bandits are now burglarizing churches, his institution being one of those broken into. He spoke with Shaka Wooding.
As he recounted the recent robbery of a Castries church, Superintendent Minister of the Methodist Church, Reverend Seth Ampadu, expressed a deep disappointment with such attacks on places of worship.
Somebody broke into our church. And it was so very sad, because the place has been secured, but the way the person was able to find a small hole to go into it and took away our speakers, our microphones, a whole lot of things, computers, and the rest. It's so sad. It should not happen to a Christian nation. And I have said some time ago, if you do not agree with the church, that is not the way we should go. If you have any issue like what happened to the Roman Catholic Church in Vieux-Fort, if you do not agree with what the church is doing, that is not the way, the route or the path that you should tread.
Ampadu believes that the recent spate of robbery and violent crimes is a clear indication that the society is drifting from the foundations of Christianity. He warns that for a society heavily built around the church, this could spell disaster.
The breaking into the churches and destroying churches' properties and the rest, I don't think it is right. Those people who are involved in that act, they need to put a stop to that. The church is the symbol of the presence of God in our society. And therefore, anyone attacking the church is attacking God, attacking the destiny of the nation, Because if, in the absence of the church, I don't know the kind of community that is in Lucia's society.
He calls on young people who may be considering using violence as a means of conflict resolution to instead exercise patience and utilize more suitable methods to address situations that may seem unfavorable.
Violence cannot use as a way of bringing peace. So some people think if they use violence, then they can resolve their issue. But that is compounding the issue. So I want to appeal that as people, we need to think before we act. Some of our young people, it seems to me that they are lacking patience, So I want to appeal to our young people. The future of the nation belongs to them. We are building the future of the nation for them. But if they begin to go to that tangent of creating violence, who will take over the future?
Ampadu stressed that persons who have chosen a path outside of religion can coexist with those walking in the path of Christ. He believes that above all, tolerance and mutual respect can foster peace in society. Jacques Wooding, Hot 7 News.
St. Lucia's third largest travel market is once again open for business. The introduction of yet another service to the island on Wednesday has sparked a sign of hope for the tourism industry. The UK market is a significant contributor to St. Lucia's visitor arrivals, and while there is still some level of skepticism surrounding travel, St. Lucia continues to be a destination of choice. In this Genevieve Gonzague report, we hear about the arrival of British Airways into St. Lucia on Sunday.
Another important tourism market has opened its doors to St. Lucia. The arrival of British Airways just about 2:48 p.m. into the Uranora International Airport on Sunday, July 26, has sparked yet another positive sign for the tourism industry. The UK market is St. Lucia's second largest market, following the USA. 270 visitors and nationals disembarked the aircraft, with 65 transiting to St. Vincent. The remaining 205 made their way to nurses' stations, where they were required to sanitize hands and have their temperatures checked prior to entry. They also went through additional screening prior to advancing to immigration and customs. Since the arrival of the first commercial flight on July 9th, Port Health authorities have been enforcing and adhering to the strict protocols in place for travel to the island. The St. Lucia Tourism Authority worked tirelessly throughout the pandemic to keep the destination top of mind and remind the traveling public of the protocols that must be observed when visiting St. Lucia.
Sure. They continue to be very anxious about the flights and the markets that are opening. But I just want to take this opportunity to again assure them that we are doing everything possible to keep them safe and to make calculated, measured, and very strategic decisions as we look at the opening of tourism, I want to make it absolutely clear that their health is first and foremost. But at the same time, we also welcome the UK flights. This is really the commencement of the second largest market for tourism. And I think it bodes well for the first phase of the opening of St. Lucia. So I welcome British Airways again, and I welcome the opening of the UK market, but we continue to open and be, I would say, cautiously optimistic.
To celebrate the reintroduction of British Airways, 2 lucky families were gifted on arrival.
Your fabulous family has just won 4 nights, including breakfast, in a 1-bedroom villa at the gorgeous Windjammer Landing Villa Beach Resort. How are you feeling?
Great.
Talk to me.
Ryan, I'm going alone.
Welcome. Welcome home. What if I told you you just won 4 nights at the Bay Gardens Beach Resort for next time?
Oh, wow, that's fantastic. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding.
Okay, my flight was good, really good. We were treated. Yeah, we always travel on Virgin, but this is the first time, obviously, because Virgin's not flying. We've traveled on British Airways, and we were treated really well. Very friendly staff.
As per usual protocol, locals and visitors alike are required to follow all regulations in St. Lucia, as failure to do so could result in stringent penalties, including the returning of visitors to the jurisdiction of origin at their own expense. The arrival of British Airways is the first flight from the UK since the closure of the borders on March 23rd and will set the tone for other commercial carriers from the market. With the tourism industry on the rebound, health and safety is paramount during the pilot phase. Travelers to St. Lucia are reminded to pre-register prior to arrival by visiting www.stlucia.org/COVID-19. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Shanique Gonzalez.
You're watching the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Still to come, tributes pour in for one of the region's most respected former leaders, Owen Arthur, on the occasion of his passing. CDC residents are up in arms over a pile of garbage, the likes of which they say they have never seen before. And Philip J. Pierre calls for action on crime and not talk of reinstating a curfew. That and more coming up after the break.